All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome to another tutorial video. I am the Ultra Farmer, and in today's quick guide, we're going to be going over canola farming within the base game of Farming Simulator 25. We're going to go over everything you need to know when it comes to canola farming. We're going to go over how you plant the canola, how you harvest the canola, what you do with the harvested canola afterwards. I'm going to get into the production facilities and how to work those, and how to store the canola. So if you're interested in that, if you're a new player, or if you're a returning player and you just kind of haven't done much with canola, this will be the video for you. So let's get right into it. Let's get into canola farming. Okay, so let's first talk about when we can plant canola and when we're going to be harvesting it. So if I come into our menu right now, if you have seasons turned on, now all the tips and stuff I give you today is going to be for all platforms. It's not really going to matter if it's PC or console. The controls I'm going to give you is for PC. So if you need the corresponding controls, just come into your settings. You can come over to controls and you can find those there. So I push escape on my keyboard and I'm going to come up here to my calendar. And this is going to tell us when we can plant, when we can harvest canola. Now, September and August is our planting season with canola, and July and August is our harvesting season. Now, the reason my fields out here are able to be harvested is when I got these all set up, I had my seasons turned off. So if you want to turn your seasons off and you want to just kind of plant and harvest whenever you want, you can come into your settings, this cogwheel on the bottom here. You can come over here to your seasonal growth and you can turn that to no. And then if you come back to your calendar, what it's going to show is that you can plant and harvest whenever you want. Now, you still have to let your crop go through the normal growth cycle. So if I come back here and let's just turn this back on real quick so that we can see it, it shows that if we plant in August, we still got to wait all these months, October, November, December, January, February, all the way up until July till we can harvest it again. So it's still a very long growth cycle, and you have to wait for that no matter what, whether your seasons are turned on or off. I'm just going to turn mine back off so nothing jams out. Now, when it comes to planting your canola, though, there's two ways that you can get canola in the ground. You can use a seeder. So if I come into my store menu and I scroll down to the seeders, this is where you're mostly going to find the units that will plant your canola. Now, the main difference between these two is some are direct drill and some are not. What that basically means is with the direct drills, you don't have to cultivate or plow or anything to a harvested field. You can just immediately plant on it. And with a unit like this that isn't a direct drill, you have to do some sort of soil cultivation in order to get the canola in the ground. And so if you look down here, the other differences is some of these planters will seed and fertilize with this little symbol here with the three kind of yellow leaves. That is your canola symbol. So all of these will put canola in the ground. For the most part, only seeders will. However, if you come into the planters, a lot of these planters won't, but this unit will plant canola. This unit will plant canola, and I believe that's it. Yeah, these two units you can plant canola with it, but for the other planters you can't. And so to get seed for for your canola, you just come over here to this category, and you can get pallets of seed, you can get bags of seed. They're all the same amounts, except for this pallet. You get 50 more liters. I always get pallets just because it's the same price, and you get 50 more liters. I mean, it's not much, but it is what it is. So I always opt to get the pallets. So you'll get your planter and fill it with seed. The way that you do that is you'll have your pallet close to your planter, and for me, I hit R on my keyboard, and that will fill them up. You also can get silos put down on your farm that will hold seed and fertilizer. This one holds lime. This one holds the seeds, and this one will hold fertilizer, and you can do that if you want to have stuff in bulk form. And then you just go plant a field the normal way. You go over there, turn your unit on. For me, that's usually pushing B on the keyboard. It turns the unit on, V lowers it down, and then you run across the field and you'll plant your canola. And after the appropriate amount of months, you will get a field that is ready to be harvested. And from there, we'll get into harvesting. So what do we use to harvest our canola? What you're going to need is a combine. So if we come back into our store menu, I push P on the keyboard. We keep scrolling down past our planters, past our yield improvements. These are different things to prep your fields, obviously your fertilizers and stuff. But we get into our combines. So you don't want to be going down to your forage harvesters. You want to make sure you're on combines. Any one of these combines will harvest your canola. As you can see, they all have the little three yellow leaf symbol for canola. The only differences between these are obviously price, which the price usually determines the amount that it'll hold, and the horsepower that it will push. The main thing you have to worry about with horsepower in these units is if you have farms with big hills, sometimes you're going to require a little bit more horsepower, especially if you're trying to pair it with a large set of headers, which is what you'll need next. So once you get yourself a combine, you need a set of grain headers. Again, you can check the little symbols down here and it'll show you which ones do canola. All of these in the base game will do canola. They go up in size and price. These are 15 meters wide, where these are 7.5 meters wide. Again, you just got to kind of pair it accordingly. I'm not going to get too much into that, but this is what you need in order to harvest your canola. So once you get a set of grain headers and a combine and you get a unit here, you're able to set it on the field. So I'm going to fire this unit up. Actually, it's already running. I push X to unfold it. If I push X again, you'll notice that it starts to fold back up. So I'm going to just unfold it right now. I'm going to come up to my field. Now we can either push B on the keyboard and that's going to turn the unit on, and you push V and that will, our headers were already down, but you drop your headers and you can start going and you will start harvesting this field. And then the way that you get your grain out of the combine is as you're harvesting, you can see the little meter on the bottom right hand corner, it's filling up, your combine is filling up with the canola that you're harvesting. You can then push O on your keyboard or the corresponding control to get the pipe to extend out, and then you can get yourself a trailer. Now this trailer is almost full of canola, but I'm just going to pull over and show you how you get this out. All you got to do is drive underneath the pipe. You got to kind of get in a proper spot so that it lines up good, but the canola will just automatically start flowing out. We're obviously not in a good spot here. Let's try and well, you can see how annoying this can be at times. Let's see if we can get into a sweet spot here. There we go. There we go. We got it. And the canola will flow out. Now again, our tractor was almost full, and I don't want to back over all this to destroy it with crop damage, but we will. There wasn't too much canola in there, so that's why that's all that popped out. But it'll either flow completely till it's empty or till your trailer is full. Now from here, when you have a full trailer, what do you do with your canola? Well, there's a couple things. You could take it and we can store it in a set of silos. So if you come over to here on the farm, we have a set of silos set down. Now to get into a build mode to set these down, what I do is I push either Shift P on my keyboard, or if you want, I can push P to go like into our store menu, and instead we scroll down to this little area. You can come into construction and it brings you into this mode. And so you can set down a set of silos. If you come into your sheds and then scroll over to silos, this is where you'll find a whole bunch of different varieties. They range in sizes or kind of designs. These flat bottom ones, you're going to need to get some sort of conveyor or an auger unit to get grain in and out. These ones are great, but they kind of have more of a narrow, like the shedded area that you drop off in can be difficult with big trucks and trailers. And then you kind of have these open grate style ones like I have sitting there. It's just a little bit easier. You can hold different types of grains in there, but that's the way you store canola. Now, when you're in the build mode, another thing that you can do is you can set down a production facility. What the production facility is going to do is it's going to take your harvested canola and it's going to turn it into a refined product. Now, you don't have to do this. What you can do is you can just take this canola that we have and you can sell it off. And the way you find where you're going to sell it off is I push escape on my keyboard and I'm going to come down to this little bar graph with a line on it. And that's going to take us into our pricing chart. And if we click on canola, it's going to show us where we can go sell the canola and how much money we're going to make. So for example, we could take it to the farmer's market right now and we'll get 1,853 liters. Now this is per 1,000 liters. So we have 12,000 liters of canola right now. So if I was to take our canola, I'm just going to do it with my calculator right now, to the farmer's market, we would roughly make $22,236 roughly. Now, if we waited till November, as you can see when our bar graph, the canola would be worth more money. This price would increase and we would get more money for it. So you can sell the raw canola off, or you can put down a production facility and you can refine it into another product. So what products can you refine it into? Well, in the base game, the main thing that you can refine canola into is canola oil. So if you want to find a production facility and you want to figure out which ones will take in canola, what you do is you come back into your build mode and you go down from sheds into factories. And these factories are going to show you a bunch of different things that you can refine and take those raw materials and refine it into a newer, kind of a more profitable product. And what you just got to do is you got to look through and just see as you scroll over these, like when I click on it, as you can see, this dairy unit will take in different levels of dairy and it'll spit out cheese and butter and things of that nature. So what we want to do is we want to look down and we want to find ones that will take in canola. So if we click on the grain mill, we look at our little symbols, well, it'll take in wheat and rice and oats and long grain rice and barley and sorghum, and it'll spit out flour. We don't want that. We don't want the grape processing. But if you come to the oil mill, you can see the little symbol for canola. This unit will take in canola and it will spit out canola oil. And that's what we have sitting down right in front of us right now. This is an oil mill. So all production units are going to have basically two areas. It's going to have a drop off and it's going to have an area for your refined products to sit out in. So if we take our canola, let's just spin around here, and let's dump our canola into this production facility, and then I'll kind of give you an overview of how production facilities work and the different controls within it. So I'm going to push I on my keyboard. I'm going to dump all this canola in there. I'm just going to hop out. You can do this in a couple different ways, but I'm going to go looking around my production facility, and I'm looking for a little wrench icon, the little wrench trigger. Okay, so I found that, so I'm going to come up to it. I'm going to push R on my keyboard, and that's going to open our menu. This is our production chain. This is what we own. In the back corner of our farm, we have a biogas plant, but the main one we're going to be looking at is the oil mill. Now, if you don't want to do that, you can also push escape on your keyboard, and it's going to bring you back into this menu where you have your calendar, you have your animals, contracts, and if you scroll down to this little one here, it's going to be on production chains. Now, it might be over and it might show available. These are ones that you can get. So you want to scroll over to where it says owned, and you'll find our section. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to explain to you what each of these canola or these production chains mean and kind of how it's all explained. So what we're going to be looking for on the side is the products that we want to make. So this is where we'll first start. So the product that we want to make is going to be determined on what we bring in. So if I click on canola oil and I scroll down to where it says recipe, it's going to tell me that it requires 20 canola and it's going to give us 10 canola oil. So, and it's going to do this cycle, this recipe, it's going to do it 480 times in 1 month. And the cost for that is going to be, it's going to be $60, I believe, per cycle. No, it wouldn't be per cycle. That's just the production per month. It costs you $60 to run this 480 times. So now we look to the top here, and what it shows us is our incoming materials. So we just dumped in 7,704 liters of canola, and we want to turn it into canola oil. We obviously have no canola oil. So if you were to put in olives, then your olive meter would go up, and your rice oil and your sunflower oil, this would all go up. But we just put canola in, so we're going to click on this product. This is what we want to create. And I'm going to go down here to say activate. If you don't have anything in there, right here is going to say missing material, where it says running. But we have material in there, so now this cycle is starting to run. And if we slowly watch this, it might even start to take this down. I don't know how fast it's going to go. Yeah, 7703. If we keep watching this as we go, it'll slowly go. And your canola oil meter, it might raise up. I don't know how much it's going to have to run through before it actually shows that something pops in there. But the cycle is running now. So this recipe is happening, and we are creating canola oil. Now we're at 7702. So let's look over here to our products, and it says canola oil storing. So what does that mean? So that means that as this thing cycles through and it starts to create canola oil, it's going to store it within the production facility and kind of in the little drop-off area outside. And it will store up to 50,000 liters. So if you put more canola in there and it's running a whole bunch of cycles and you don't do anything with the canola oil, it eventually will get to 50,000 liters and it won't do any more cycles. It'll just sit still. Now, if you want to change this, you can change this by pushing space on the keyboard, or you can click down here and you can change the output mode. Now it's going to switch it to selling. One thing to keep in mind with selling, what that's going to do is it's going to automatically sell off the canola oil as it's made. As it becomes a 1,000-liter pallet, it's going to send it off and it'll sell it. It will not, though, sell it for this exact price. I haven't fully tested this, but in Farming Simulator 22, when you set this to selling, you took a massive hit on the price. It's like, I don't know if the game is meant so that, like, since the production facility is doing the selling, there's like a fee on there, but you take a massive hit. You don't get the full amount of price. At least you never did, so just double check that. It might be different per map. It could be a bunch of different things, but I would just really be wary of just trying to sell this. You could be losing money. Now the next one that's going to pop up, oh, I clicked on the wrong button there. Let's get back into our production facility. So the next thing you can do is if you push space, it's going to put it on distributing. Now what does that mean? It doesn't work for each of your productions, but sometimes you can have products that can be refined more than one time. So for example, if you bring in some sort of grain, you can turn it into a flour, and then you can distribute it to another production facility that will turn it into bread. We don't have another production facility sat down, and we don't really have anything that you can change canola oil into. Canola oil is kind of like the last thing that you can make it. You can't really refine it any further. So if you put it on distributing, it won't do anything. It'll just automatically store it. And then if we push spacebar again, it comes back to storing, and it's going to just create pallets and everything sitting outside in the drop-off area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sleep through a month, and I'm going to let these cycles run, and then I'm going to show you the pallets populate here and how the production facility has ran. Okay, so we are just back here. We are in October, and I'm just going to go into the production facility, and we're going to go take a look at what was created. Okay, so actually, let's look outside here. We have 3 pallets sitting out in the drop-off area, or in the output area. Now, each of these pallets is going to be 1,000 liters. It won't create a pallet until there's 1,000 liters of it. So we have 3,000 liters that were produced, and if we go back into our production facility, it's going to tell us there's 560 liters of canola oil. So the cycles are still going through, and once it gets to 1,000, it'll spit out another pallet. Now again, we had it on storing. If we would have had it on selling, it would have just sold it off, and if we had it on distributing, it would still just store it, since we don't have another production facility to send this canola off to. Now what I want to do though is I want to test this, because I want to see, in FS22 you lost a bunch of money when you would sell products, when you had this just on selling, and I want to kind of see if that's the case. So what we're going to do is let's go into our finances real quick here, and we're going to look. Sold products. So we sold nothing from September into October. We sold $0 worth of products. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back out. I'm going to not save this, and I'm going to reset it to selling, and then we're going to see what kind of price we get for this canola when we push it through. Because if it's telling us that if we go into our prices, if we go to canola oil, come down here to canola oil, it's telling us that roughly speaking, if we were to go sell canola oil now, we'd be getting between kind of 5,200 and like 5,500 bucks per liter, right? So if we have 3,000 liters sitting out there, we have 3 pallets, and we times that by, let's just say 5,300, the kind of the average in between those prices, that's telling us $15,900. So $16,000 we should make if we were to take this canola off and sell it ourselves. So let's go back out, and I'm going to set this to selling, and then we're going to check our prices. Okay, so I'm back in the game here. We've went backwards in time, Marty McFly style. We're in September. I'm going to go into this production facility. Instead of leaving this on distributing, oh, good God, I do that every time. Let's click it on selling. So we know that we should get about 3,000 liters out of this production facility in 1 month, and let's go see how much that is when we sell it off. So I'm going to sleep through right now. Okay, we're back here. It's October. We should have no pallets sitting here. That's right, because we sold them off. We're going to come into our production facility. We've got no canola oil worked through here. Everything has been sold off. So let's go back into our finances. We know that if we go to canola oil, should be right around that 5,300 buck mark per 1,000 liter, and we sold off about 3,500 liters. So again, 3.5 times roughly 5,300, we should have made about 16 to 18,000 bucks. So let's go check and see exactly what happened. Let's scroll down to our sold products. Okay, so let's look here. We made 8,768 plus 8,201 with a total of $16,969. So that tells me right there that I was wrong, that this has changed from FS22, and it seems like we get it sold for probably the median price of all of these combined, kind of just the average of the best prices that we're getting in here at the time, which is actually really good to know. The reason why part of it is in September and part of it is in October is just because the way the game works, that if we go back to our time, it's 8 o'clock in the morning right now, and that's what we were in September. So the game uses the 24-hour clock as though it's like a 30-day month. So as you progress throughout the day, it's almost like part of that production happened in the September month and part of it happened in October, and that's why it shows up on both months rather than just all of it got sold in September or all in October, if that makes sense. But that's a really good test to know, that you can set that to selling and you won't take a hit. You definitely took a hit in FS22. I remember it being not worth it whatsoever. Now, I should put a little caveat on, maybe that's just Canola, maybe that's just Riverbend Springs, the map that we're on right now. So just test in your own farm. I don't want to lead you the wrong way, but there we have it, folks. That is the essence of canola. I'm glad we did that little test and did it together. That is everything from planting your canola fields, the seasons that you can plant it in, the combines and the gear that you use to harvest it, what you then can do with the harvested canola, whether it's put it in a silo or put it into a production facility, and kind of the essence in itself of a production facility, and kind of how they work with all the different settings, storing, selling, distributing, what the recipes mean, and all that stuff. That basics of production chains is the same kind of no matter which ones you're using. It's the same idea. You look at your recipe, you look what you have coming in, and you can change the output mode. So I hope that helps. Hope this was a good tutorial for you. Hopefully I answered any questions that you may have had when it comes to canola. If I didn't, make sure and put them in the comment section below. Or if you think I missed something with canola, put it in the comment section so that other people can read it and we can help them out. If you haven't done so already, and if you're into this kind of tutorial content and you'd like to see some of my gameplay content where I actually put practices like this in motion, be sure to hit that sub, hit that notification bell, and you can actually check out a series that I did on the Hutan Pantai map where I did massive amounts of canola oil and rice oil using this exact production facility. It's a fun series. It's about 22 episodes long, and yeah, it's a neat one. You can learn about rice farming on there as well, and again, a whole bunch of canola farming. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it like always. I am the Ultra Farmer. I am out, and I hope you guys have a great day.